following is a non-profit presentation by the Church of Skarlotism. Hello dear viewer, in this video I'll be using a combination of 3D illustrations and photos to show you how to create a DIY shelter for cats. This video will be covering two methods, the cooler box method and styrofoam box method. During this demonstration, do note that if you build these, not to use fabric, cloth or cat beds or other water absorbent materials to provide bedding inside, as they may freeze during the winter if a wet cat uses them. With that declared, starting with the cooler box method, firstly you will need the following materials. 1. A cooler of your choice, ideally a large one with foam based insulation. 2. Straw, not hay. 3. Some form of hole saw or cutting tool, ideally a hole saw with a 6-inch diameter. And 4. Some pipe insulation foam, ideally in a tube form. Now, to construct the shelter, do the following. Step 1. Decide where the entrance will be, ideally near the middle height wise, and cut a hole into the cooler wall. But you may need to consider how thick the base of the cooler is before you start cutting. Step 2. Fill the cooler with a thick layer of straw, not hay, as straw repels moisture. I personally recommend a 3 to 4 inch thick layer of straw or more. Step 3. Cut a length of pipe insulation foam down one side, open it up and place it around the entrance as to cover any remaining sharp edges. If you are unable to get any pipe insulation foam, instead you can sand down the edges, melt them, or cover them with duct tape alternatively. And with that you now have a finished basic cooler cat shelter, which should look like one of these in the example provided. Moving on to the second design, we have the styrofoam box method. For this you will need 1. A large styrofoam box, ideally one with thick material. 2. Just like the last design, straw, not hay, for the interior. 3. Some form of hole saw or cutting tool like last time, ideally a 6-inch diameter hole saw. 4. Wooden beams or some bricks. And 5. Tape of some variety, ideally duct tape. To construct a shelter, do the following. Step 1. Cut a hole in a position of your choice. I personally recommend doing it on the lower half height wise. Step 2. Open the box and fill it with a thick layer of straw 3 to 4 inches, but ideally 1/3 of the container volume wise. This illustration showing a 3-inch layer. Step 3. Place the lid on, tape it shut. Step 4. Place the shelter on the wood or bricks to elevate it off the ground. Cut the wood to size if necessary. Do not attach the wood or bricks to the foam container using screws or nails, as this may injure the cats inside. If attachment is absolutely necessary, use some sort of glue instead. And with that you now have a basic styrofoam shelter, which should look like this. But you can improve this with a few additions. First being a small awning to keep rain away from the entrance. Second, some sort of roof to further trap heat and direct rain off the structure. The awning can be made rather cheaply with some plastic or foam stuck on with glue or held in place by sticks under it. And the roof can be done using a variety of materials. You can cut a foam block to shape and cover it from the bottom up with layers of tinfoil as illustrated here. Cut and glue styrofoam sheets. Use old floorboards and a wooden frame, or other water resistant materials. Whatever you choose, simply either rest it on top or glue it in place. These two simple additions can make a cat shelter far more friendly and nicer to look at. And if your cat shelter needs to look good or be painted, do consider decorating it with colours cats can see best, such as blue and yellow. This will make it much easier for cats to identify them. And with that, this concludes our presentation on how to create a DIY shelter for cats. We hope this information will prove useful to those who need it. We hope to see you around next time. Goodbye.